Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
And welcome, everybody, to the glorious episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and as always, I am podcasting off the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, so you can catch me there. And we got people listening in the Bahamas, people listening in Kansas, Texas, Kingsville, Texas is listening, watching to the show. I want to give you props, San Diego. We got New York City in here too. So I want to thank you guys for listening and watching the USC Student Body Right USC podcast. And just when you thought it was going to take forever, just when you thought it was going to be, going on and on and on forever, and it was just like we were getting kind of sick of talking about the possible candidates, USC does does what they're, of course they do it on the night of the Pac-12 championship game between Washington and Oregon, but they do name Lynn the new defensive coordinator for your USC Trojans, and he comes from the UCLA Bruins. Just some background. This is gonna be more of a background show. We're gonna have a background show with him. Kind of talking about him. We're gonna say goodbye to the Pac-12 next episode. We're gonna go ahead and talk about Washington, Oregon, and then more on Danton Lynn, and then we're gonna go all 22, kind of a view, so you as the fans can kind of see his defense. It's really important for you guys to see what he's capable of defensively as far as that goes. So, new defensive coordinator. He's 34 years old. Was born in Plano, Texas. He had a short playing career in National Football League. I think practice squad with the Jets, and then went to the Hamilton Tigers. From 2012, 2013. 34, like I said, 34 years old. As I was a seasonal assistant with the New York Jets. Then a defensive assistant with the Buffalo Bills for 2 years. Then the Los Angeles Chargers defensive assistant 2017, 2018, 2019 was the assistant secondaries coach. Then in 2020 was named the secondaries coach with the Houston Texans. Baltimore Ravens safeties coach 2021, 2022, and then last year he was UCLA's defensive coordinator in 2023. I did not be, and now he's the USC head coach, USC defensive coordinator. Right now, a lot of UCLA Bruin fans wish that they would have fired Chip Kelly and hired him as the head coach. Didn't happen. He's now the defensive coordinator for the Trojans. My initial thought is I will go straightly positive today, and then I'll kind of dive in a little bit more. But number one, I always feel like coaches make their biggest impact in year one, and he took the Bruins to being whatever they were defensively to a top 15 defense. I don't know what that looks like for the Trojans. Like I've not seen good defense in a long time from the Trojans. So like if they can get to anywhere near that next year going into the Big Ten, they can pretty much compete with anybody in that conference. As far as that goes, when you know how Lincoln Riley, how he does things, as far as is running his offense. So young, can make an impact. I believe he got hired in February. I think he was a really late hire for UCLA last year, and for this past season, and he just did a fantastic job. They tackled, they pressured the quarterback. They were one of the top teams in every defensive category that you could think of. UCLA was up there. It just UCLA's offense was so putrid, with the exception of the of the game that they played against USC, that really made them look special and fantastic. Defensively, they were just fantastic all year. They were in every game. They held they held Utah to 7 points on the road. Defensively, like it's just they did a great job defensively. They tackled, they were able to play fast. Whatever he implemented offensively, defensively, they were able to digest it and then let it flow on the field. And that's what we were dying for with the Trojans here, right? Because the previous coordinator had something that was so complex, so annoying to deal with, that we could not get things going faster. The people were still looking at the balls being snapped, and they're still looking at their wristbands to understand what play that was coming in. That's not what you want defensively. You want something simple. They can play fast, get to the quarterback, turn the ball over, do all those things. And I think that's something that you have to be excited about if you're the Trojans going into this year. And I think, yes, some guys who don't like UCLA, but I'm sorry, don't like USC, but have to cover USC, talked about it was like he didn't have any connections. Like this was a hire where it was just easy for him. I mean, this is a huge hire for him. This guy comes with some pretty good credentials. He comes from a player perspective. He comes from NFL perspective, and now that one year with UCLA was a year that they were really good defensively. They were fantastic. We would have given anything. Maybe some Trojan fans would have given body parts for what UCLA did defensively for 2023. They would have given anything for that. And now we have that out. Now we have that opportunity to see it. Now players got to get players. Can he recruit? Can he get players? Can he get can they convince guys in the transfer portal to come to SC now? The only thing I would say is the only thing that I would say I'm worried about would be like certain things here and there, but for the most part, I mean I feel really good about the hire. I think you're hiring a guy off of potential, so that could be something that maybe you're a little bit worried about, hiring a guy off of potential, but he's an ascending coach. Like he's ascending. Like he might not be here after a couple of years. Like he might get a head coaching job in college. He might get a DC job in the NFL. He might be all this stuff like that. But you want those things. Like if you're NFL, if you're a defensive player, you're coming to SC, you have an opportunity. If you're coming to SC, you have an opportunity to play in the league, and you want to know that this guy can help you get there. And does he have a system where you can excel in? Is it a pro-based system where you can walk into a room at the combine and kind of just spit that out to somebody and say, hey, listen, I can definitely, pick up what you're putting down. Mr. defensive coordinator for said team, Jets, Giants, whoever, right? And you can do that, and you should be able to do that with him. If you're a player, I think most players have been pretty good about it. I know Rajon Davis was fight on. Bear Alexander was excited about it. Got a little bit of a side eye from Jalil Muhammad, so I'm not sure if he was hoping it was somebody else. Maybe I think maybe the defensive coordinator for Nebraska, who was like one of my favorite guys to take the job. He ended up getting a raise all of a sudden in the very end. He got a raise, and then the next day, the job went to Dan and Lynn. So that's kind of interesting. Whose father is Anthony Lynn, who coaches with the Niners and coached the Chargers as well. So there is some family ties with the sport of football. for a long period of time. So it's a good hire. I'm excited about the hire. Now that it's done now. I think the only thing that I'm trying to say on the positive part of it, because I want to make sure, before I talk about what makes me worry a little bit about the hire, I want to be the positive part. I was worried. I was more looking for somebody who had Big Ten experience. That's why I wanted the White, the defensive coordinator for Nebraska. Nebraska played good defense this year as well. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with this team. Now, this USC Trojan team has to go hit the portal really hard. The portal, they need the help on defensive and offensive lines. Their goal next year is to be one of the 12 best teams in the nation so that they're in the college football playoff. There is no excuse for it. There's no whatever. I mean, I don't know if, I know Cam Ward is a transfer portal guy. I know they might go quarterback, but I don't care if it's Miller Moss. I don't care if it's Cam Ward. I don't care if it's Malachi Nelson. This is USC, and you can't be. I mean, this will be his third year. You got to start making the football playoff, especially now the fact that it's 12 teams and not it's 12 teams and it's not 4 anymore. Like, you got to be able to make that. And if they can play good defense, they can play, they can make a big jump defensively. And I'm trying to be realistic. If they just go from the hundreds where they're like in the 110 area, if they can go up to 30, the 30s or the 20s, like that's what's up. And that means he's made a big impact. That means his team is on their way. And it'd be interesting to see what staff situations they have, or is it the same USC staff? We don't know about that part. I didn't see. We'll get more details about that later on. But I thought it was a solid hire. I think that some of the negatives. Part of it would be like, hey, is he a one hit wonder? Is this a guy who really needs to should have maybe had shown he could do it for one more season before he got a job like USC. So it should be interesting to see whether or not that's the case or not. But I think USC fans should be excited. Young ascending coach, not a retread or anything like that. A guy who has an opportunity at some point, maybe 4 or 5 years from now, we look back at this and say this is the moment where he became a head coach somewhere else. And I think if you are a head coach like Lincoln Riley, you should be out here hiring people who want to become head coaches. That's bottom line. You want guys like that on your team. But so Dayton Lynn, the new defensive coordinator for Lincoln Riley and the Trojans. And I think, you have to trust. I'm going to trust Lincoln Riley on this move, and also trust Jen Cohen on this move. I think you're seeing Jen Cohen, her work in the college football playoff champion, the Pac-12 championship game. You're seeing it because she hired that coach. They put that whole thing together, right? Up there in the Pacific Northwest. Before now she's the athletic director at USC. Boom, you see what Washington is doing. And Washington has been they beat Oregon. Penix is 3-0 against Bo Nix in Oregon. So you got to give him a lot of credit for that. And Kalen DeBoer is a star as a head coach. So we're hoping that that Dayton Lynn is going to be a star at defensive coordinator. So Student Body Right USC podcast. Like I said, we are going to be super busy. The shows with Coach B, over 1,000 views. We got over like almost 700 views for the last podcast that we did. Like, keep those things coming. We appreciate it. Also, go to PORSBR. That's PORSBR on Twitter. Or if you're an Instagram person, put on waivers _podcast. That's put on waivers _podcast. Also in the bio, you'll see you'll also see the phone number. Like, we're selling merch. By all means, if you want some merch, we got the Student Body Right USC shirts, sweatshirts, all those things like that. We also have the the Put On Raiders stuff too as well too. So great opportunity for you to support the show in that way, and then also we got some stuff coming for you coming up as well too. But I'm really good hire. I'll think of some pros, some P's and C's, some pros and cons for you, so you can get a better view of it. But the search is over. We can all rest assured that our head coach is Lincoln Riley, and our defensive coordinator is a guy who is a really ascending guy who you should be really excited about. And Danton Lynn, from formerly of this other school in Los Angeles. All right, as always, you know how we do it. We go ahead and we fight on. Take care, folks.